Hello, everybody. I'm back. I'm sorry about the hiatus. I was off sick last week, so this was the episode I was going to do last week and didn't do because of obvious reasons. I hope it's obvious. It's obvious to me, but yeah, no, I had the COVID and I had it bad, very bad, extremely bad. So yeah, that was rough. That was really, really rough. So I apologize. I'm back. I'm feeling so well now. I kind of eased my way back in because I was absolutely, yeah, that was one of the worst illnesses I've had. Probably not as bad as the first COVID I ever had. That was probably the worst, of sort of um, really any illness I've had. Actually, now that I come to think about it, the first time I got COVID, I was absolutely floored. My wife was perfectly fine. Second time I got it, she was absolutely floored. I was, had a sniffle and that's it. This time round, it was back to my wife being perfectly fine and me being floored. But yeah, it was rough. But I'm feeling way better and getting ready to get back into it. Hello, everybody. Hello. Yeah, I feel great. Thanks, Michael. And welcome to Star Song and Gangster Ghost. Hey, Logan. Good to see you all. And today we're getting into fundamentalist fails again. I kind of Wednesday I still had a bit of a sniffle. I still got a tiny bit of a cough, but it should be fine. It's all good. But Wednesday I didn't do my usual open room that I've started. I might sort of do them on and off and see how I feel. I there's a few that I want to cover, so I do want to get back to doing them. But it's Friday, and Friday means fundamentalist fails. And boy, have we got a cracker! We've got a guy from um, Sons of Thunder Ministries. I don't know what that means. I have no idea. But that's what his YouTube channel is called. Um, Sorry, just 1 second. Excuse me. Like I said, I might be a bit sort of sneezy or coughy. I really apologize. I usually hate that kind of stuff. I do apologize, but I'm feeling much better. I'm feeling much better. But thank you, everybody. Thanks. It's good to see you. It's good to see everybody. And yeah, I found this guy just randomly. Hi, Dave. I just found this guy randomly. Now, he's got like I'll find his channel exactly what he's got to say for himself, because this is one that I kind of, when I checked it out, I didn't realize how bad it was, and it's really shocking what this guy is trying to do and what he's actually doing. Yeah, God Rules 2, Sons of Thunder. Okay, that's his YouTube channel. I presume there might have been a God Rules 1. Maybe he got demonetized. I have no idea. But he's got like 125K subscribers, and that's the horrifying thing. And you'll sort of see why. Um, that it's kind of horrifying that he's got all of these subscribers to him. So he says, searching out the deep things of God and revealing the errors found in the church and the world. So obviously he's non-denominational, kind of, this is my ministry and we're gonna have God with hookers and blackjack, essentially, to bring truth to those who seek it. When he made a decree for the rain and a way for lightning of the thunder, then he did see it and declare it, and yea, and searched it out. Job 28:26. Okay. Back in 1993, I found a ministry with a close friend of mine, Sean Thunder Wallace. Okay, well, it was called Lightning of the Thunder Ministries. But like, so lightning doesn't cause thunder. Thunder causes lightning. Uh, uh, Sorry, thunder, lightning of the yeah, thunder doesn't cause lightning. Lightning causes thunder. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I just don't. And apparently he's a man of action, so this is going to be hilarious. Um, it's very weird, and it's sort of, I named this one, and he's all about the devils are everywhere, and there's all this thing. Hey, Dave, good to see you. Hey, Speed. Yeah, and so I wanna go through it and sort of share it with you. Um, where are we now? There we go. And I'll get that up and get the view that I like. So yeah, he's a very concerned citizen, and you'll see that as it sort of goes along and unfolds. It's not a particularly long one. Um, I'm still not feeling it totally 100%, so hopefully, but he's got, you can see the 100K like little YouTube badge. So it's, and you'll see why it's concerning that he has so many followers, because he is just a hype man for end of days and all of this, Illuminati. He's just a misinformation hype man as far as I can see.
Got an interesting video for you guys today. We're going to be talking about a number of things going on in Hollywood and also the music industry that you definitely want to hear, folks. Actually, we're going to be talking about a guy who was one of the top in the charts back about a little over a decade ago. And something he recently said on video, which is pretty surprising. His name is Shane Lynch. He's from the band called Boyzone. They got like 100 million views on, I think, a couple videos. We're going to get into something that he recently said that was just...
Yeah, so this guy Lynch, he's kind of known as, well, a kook, basically. He's sort of conspiracy theory guy kind of thing. So it doesn't really matter how much views you get, like whether your information is solid or not is another story entirely. He sort of will take these people as authorities when they're just sort of these random celebrities or ex-celebrities in this case, and sort of says, "Oh, well, they obviously know what they're talking about." It's really weird,
just very surprising. Also, of course, want to get into some of these music videos of recent, some of the things that they're saying, and various types of messages in these videos, and actually a lot more, folks. We're going to get into also Matthew Perry a little bit. Did you know that Jerry Springer, he now is gone as well this year? Recently,
yeah. Jerry Springer died. Yeah, he was very old. He was incredibly old. He was old when he was doing his show. I'm. What age did he die? Just one sec. Let's fact check this. Yeah, he was 79 when he died. The fact that he was 80, it's not like this. Oh my God, you mean this 80-year-old? It's sad. Like, I get you, Jerry Springer. Did he help the world? Eh, eh, I don't. Yeah, I don't see it as a revelation or anything.
deceased as well. A little bit earlier. Sure. What's amazing is like the only person I really heard about was Matthew Perry, pretty much, and a lot of these other. There's actually a number of celebrities that are gone this year.
Yeah, there's a number of celebrities that have gone every year. What are you talking about? Like, seriously, it's and Matthew Perry. Like, here's the thing, Matthew Perry. He was beloved member of the Friends cast for a long time. Really nice guy. Raging alcoholic. Just a raging alcoholic. Matthew Perry died. Okay, it's sad, yeah, but it doesn't mean anything.
I'm gonna get into that a little bit. Also, talk a little bit about Kat Von D and other things as well. So let's get into this. So I wanted to mention first. I wanted to get into a little bit about what what Matthew Perry had to say. Some interesting things. Okay, how he...
Yeah, what's Matthew Perry got to say? Because Matthew Perry, I would not sort of, he hasn't been that relevant. It's not like he's on the cutting edge of anything. What exactly does Matthew Perry have to say that is so, has he really been that relevant lately? I don't know. I don't know why we're listening to Matthew Perry all of a sudden. Yeah, no, he was on Friends. Great.
Wanted to become an actor, and he actually prayed for it, folks, a long time ago. And he thought it would solve all of his problems and make him happy and things like that, when in reality it didn't. And it led him into essentially the problem that he had already been experiencing. So he was actually trying to find a way to fill a hole in his life.
Yeah, that's usually what happens when addiction sets in. Hey, Marty, how you doing? Yeah, big deal. He prayed to be successful. Is that why he became successful? Probably not. It was probably hard work. But he had problem with drugs and alcohol. Yeah. Apparently he sort of got addicted to Vicodin. It's an opiate. It's really rough. I get you. It's just what? So what?
Whatever holes you seem to be filling up, keep opening back up. Maybe it is because you're always trying to fill a spiritual hole with a material thing. Now, he thought back in the old days when he first was trying to, get a part in a TV show or a movie, that once he's famous, he'll be happy. This was sort of his mindset. And he says that right here. In 1986, I was pretty sure fame would change everything. I yearned for it. More than any other person on the face of the planet, I needed it. It was the only true thing that would fix me. I was certain of it. Living in LA, you would occasionally bump into a celebrity, or you'd see Billy Crystal at the Improv, make notes of Nicolas Cage in the next booth, and I just knew they had no problems. In fact, all their problems had been washed away. They were famous. So this guy...
Oh, yeah, people like that, they have no problems, no problems at all. So he was an idiot, is what you're saying. Like, I don't...
Essentially wanted to become an actor, believe it or not, because he was trying to fill a hole of emptiness in his life. I mean, this is literally what he's saying.
Yeah, and that's essentially what they're doing, Marty. That's essentially what they're doing. They're basically saying, hey, if you've only got material things in your life, you have to find Jesus. And it's like, no, you can have, there's other things, community connections, beliefs, there's multiple things you can have in your life that will give you a sense of purpose rather than just Jesus. But it's always Jesus, isn't it?
And he thought that these guys had no problems. These actors and actresses were completely free of problems. So what did he do? He said a prayer some time ago. And he talks about it in this interview. Let me play this really quick.
I knelt down and said...
Okay, can I just say for a start, Matthew Perry looks rough. He looks rough. I got to say, he looks pretty worn. I don't think he's doing particularly well in this thing. So, yeah.
God, you can do whatever you want to me. Just please make me famous.
So he knelt down to actually ask, can you make me a Hollywood star? 3 weeks later, he is auditioning for the TV show Friends and gets the part, right? So he obviously becomes famous. He gets what he asked for, but he thinks that this is the answer. And I guess this is really interesting because this is kind of like a parable of his life playing out. So I actually think this is very interesting how he was trying to fill this void, of course, in his life. He thought being...
Yeah, so this is what I want to say. Stop blaming a god or demons or whatever for the problems in your life. That's not to minimize the problems, but they're not coming from God and they're not coming from demons and they're not coming from supernatural spirits. That's not where they're coming from. You probably had confidence from praying or whatever. Maybe that's the case, but he went and he did it himself. Like, there was no God doing this. And I mean, what a shitty God to do whatever you want to me. Oh, well, I'm going to, monkey's paw, give you fame, but I'm going to give you addiction. No, the addiction didn't come from God. It didn't come from any of that stuff. It's there because he has unresolved feelings that he can't cope with. That's all. And it's a tragedy. And he obviously died really young because, not because of some divine thing, but because he did a lot, was struggling with addiction when he died. So, it's really sad. It's very sad, but sort of, but this is how God works and stuff. No, get out of here. This is just a story of a guy who believed in a God, succeeded, and had an addiction problem. That's it.
Famous and rich would do it. He asks for it. He gets what he wants. And it's almost like a parable playing out. You know what I mean? Like, this is kind of like you get what you asked for, but it may not be what you really wanted, right? So then he ultimately thinks this is going to make him happy. But in reality, he talks in the interview about how he was not happy when he was an actor. And it's almost like you can't even, it's like a shadow of a memory of that time. And he said that the man was a very unhappy person during that time. So when he was an actor, when he was famous, he was very unhappy. And he turned to things like alcohol and other things. And he talked about how this didn't make his life better. And he goes in here and says this here, alcoholics like myself want to drink for the sole purpose of feeling better. Well, that's at least true for me. All I ever wanted was to feel better. I didn't feel good. I had a couple drinks and I felt better. But as the disease progresses, it takes more and more and more and more and more and keeps going. So as you can see.
Yeah, so a lot of these coping mechanisms, and I want to do an open room on this kind of stuff. Substance abuse, and I get this from a psychologist that I knew, very awesome guy. He says that it almost works. Like it's substance abuse. It's always just around the corner working, basically. So just a little bit more and it'll work, kind of thing. The problem is that escalates and always goes up to a little bit more and it'll work, a little bit more and it'll work until it's not working, and your problems are amplified by the amount of issues that it causes. So he sort of says, well, it does almost work, but it doesn't. At the end of the day, it doesn't. And so, yeah. Oh, you noticed that too? Yeah, no, it sort of jumps out at you, doesn't it? The Mr. T on the wall. I don't know. Maybe he's beaten fools for Jesus. Well, what do you mean by it will work? Well, it makes you feel better. But if you're looking to solve the problems of your life, it doesn't. So it almost works.
This entire thing, his entire life was trying to make himself feel right, happy, full, happy, just, not empty inside. And then, of course, it came to this position, our part where he's asking for help. He whispered, "Show me that you are here. God, please help me." And then he says he felt something like the air transformed into a small golden light. I kneeled down. Light slowly began to get bigger and bigger until it was so big it encompassed the entire room. It was like I was standing on the sun. I had stepped on the surface of the sun. What was happening, and why was I starting to feel better? Why was I not?
Yeah, so this is just sort of him talking, like Matthew Perry talking about his faith and his sort of God experience kind of thing. The problem is, as I said, he still had problems with addiction by the time he died. So really, we're just looking at a transference here, like one addiction for another. But this didn't work either because he still had his addictive problems.
Terrified. The light engendered a feeling more perfect than the most perfect quantity of anything I have ever taken. Feeling euphoric now, I did get scared and tried to shake it off, but there was no shaking this off. It was way, way bigger than me. My only choice was to surrender to it, which was not hard because it felt so good. The euphoria had begun at the top of my head and going down. I must have sat there for 5, 6, 7 minutes filled with it. So clearly this was his first encounter, of course, with God.
Yeah, and why didn't it solve all the problems in his life? Why didn't that sort of, why didn't that do anything? Why did he die so early? Like 2020, he sort of faked pain to get prescription in for Oxycontin. In 2022, he said that he'd spent about 9 million on his addictions, kind of thing. Like, so he was still having problems, sort of right up until 2023. But his death, by the way, was acute effects of ketamine, right? So the drug ketamine, right? So this is the thing. You're sort of peddling this as, oh, he found way better stuff in God, but it didn't work either. It didn't work because God isn't going to solve your problems. It's not. God's not going to come down and wave a wand and solve your problems and solve how you feel about things. All you're doing is just another coping mechanism, which is what addiction is in the first place. You're just coping.
And so, I mean, that's a really interesting story about his life, you know. Looking back, this really is kind of an interesting message that should be given out to everybody, I think, honestly. It really shows you how you think, you know what you want, you know what will make you happy, but in the end, you chase it your entire life and you find out it was not what you wanted and it's not what would make you happy. Of course, he loved being an actor. There's nothing wrong with that. It was just him thinking it would somehow satisfy everything in his life, and it didn't do that.
Well, I mean, this isn't entirely untrue. Sure. I mean, there's a lot of things that you think that you'll like in your life, and it turns out that you're not that thrilled about. It's hardly revealing. And I don't get how Matthew Perry's death is somehow, oh, well, all of these actors are dying. Well, Matthew Perry is hardly a surprise. Like his amount of stomach surgeries and things like it's not, so Jerry Springer, who was incredibly old, and, Matthew Perry, he died young. Yeah, I get you. But, there was probably some reasons he did. And he didn't die like of old age or something. He died of drug-related death, which kind of undermines everything that you're saying right now.
At any rate, I think that's really amazing. Now, of course, we have some other stuff. We're going to be talking about a lot of things here.
And it didn't work. It didn't work. He died of a drug-related death, which this guy didn't bother to look up, right? 2 seconds of Googling and you can find out Matthew Perry died of a ketamine overdose. Yeah. Like it's kind of this, well, you didn't check, did you? And we'll see a lot of that going forward.
Folks, I want to talk a little bit about Kat Von D in a minute here. But before we do so, I got to mention Food Supply, 25-year shelf life. Link is in the description, folks. I think it's $7.97 for 3 months worth. And
so here we go. Here's why this guy is doing the videos that he's doing. Because basically he's doing people are dying. This strange stuff is happening. End of days. Buy my 5-year food supply. Right? Pretty freaking obvious, right? But here's the thing that I don't understand, and maybe someone could explain this to me. No, it's not health stuff, GG. It's a 5-year food supply, so it's sealed food with a high shelf life, a 25-year shelf life, basically, and it's 5 years of it for so Doomsday Guy. Yeah, exactly, Doomsday Guy. So he's kind of pushing this narrative of end of days, all this, all these signs are happening, like actors dying and, demonic stuff happening. Ooh, scary. Demons, scary. And then buy my 5-year food supply for the end of the world. That's essentially what he's doing. Now, the problem I have with it, right? So here's my problem, and this is just from an internal critique kind of thing. If it is the end of days and it is the end of the world, and Satan's about to reign his kingdom on earth or whatever, et cetera, and Jeebus is coming back to do whatever Jeebus does when he comes back. What is a 5-year food supply going to do for you? It's not like you're going to outlast it, right? Everybody's either going to be raptured or drowned, like being tortured in a lake of fire. It's not like a food supply is going to help. Like, why? What is it for? Like, is there a bonus to being able to, do you get a heaven bonus for lasting the longest on Earth? Is that what's going on here? I don't get it. I would understand a doomsday prepper, like somebody that thinks that, society's going to collapse doing this, but this makes no sense for a biblical end of the world guy. Because I don't know what you're expecting to outlast. The end of days is literally the end of the world. You're not going to be able to outlast that. I don't know, and it shows an incredible lack of faith that he's not going to get raptured and he's going to need an emergency stash. I don't know why this guy's peddling this stuff. I have questions. Why?
2 weeks worth is 127. Considering all the stuff going on around us, folks, and actually we have some new stuff going on right now.
Yeah, and all this stuff is sort of demonic and supernatural stuff that this guy's talking about. All the stuff. What's that going to do for you? Like, you're not going to survive the apocalypse. Like, in the Christian apocalypse, you're either beamed up, Scotty, or you're in for a damn time. There's one or the other. Well, yeah, no, I get that. But I'd love to hear his excuse of why people who are destined for the end of the world and the glorious rapture should need an emergency stash. At that point, it seems so pointless. I've been one
that I've been talking about in other videos. We have
yeah, you have, and this guy's got a ton. I might revisit this guy because I mean he's just so obvious in his blatant shillism and sort of just his lack of fact checking is just incredible. Like he didn't even check what Matthew Perry died of. It was just like, oh yeah, he obviously found God and got over his drug problems. Nope. No, he didn't. Not at all.
Cyber attacks happening left and right of recent, very within the last week, several. One of the biggest telecom
cyber. I hate to break it to you, champ. Cyber attacks happen all the time, like constantly. That's why the industry of cybersecurity is a thing. Like, I don't get why he doesn't understand this. It's cyber attacks. They happen constantly. Here's the thing. I can't remember the year. There was a cyber attack back in the day when I was working in sort of an IT sphere. A big cyber attack took down, I think, 8 of 12 DNS servers of the internet. It was a distributed denial of service, and it basically there are core DNS servers. And at the time, there was about 12 of them in the world. We've got a lot more now. But basically, if that attack had taken down all 12, the internet would have been unusable. Basically, you wouldn't be able to resolve any websites at all, right? So 8 of the 12 went down, and they kept the others up. Was it the Cloudflare? Nope, wasn't that one. I can't remember which one it was, but it absolutely almost took down the internet. Yes, it was the Amarià DDoS attack, 2016. Yeah, so that almost took down the entire internet, and sort of, but the internet's got a lot more robust since then. Sort of a lot more robust, and we sort of yeah, all right, I am feisty, yeah, because I missed a week and I've been sick, and I've got all that pent up feistiness just simmering inside me. No, absolutely, no, I totally agree, GG. That's what struck me about this. It's kind of fearmonger, but don't forget the little silver plaque in the background. And he's got like 125,000 subscribers. He's not small. People are buying his shit, basically. Like, maybe not his physical products, but what he's saying. And that's a problem. That is such a bad description of the cloud. That's terrible. That is such a bad description of cloud services. I'm sorry. That's it. And Ian Chen says, for $7.99 dues. Thank you, Ian. I hope this isn't tasteless, but some humor. Some people say ketamine is just for animals. They need to get off their high horses. Nice. Nice. I like it. That's awesome. That is awesome. All right. Look, that just offends me. Like, someone else's computer. A server is not someone else's computer. I mean, like, Roundabout, yes, I guess you could describe it as that, but no, no, no.
In Australia, their port authority. I mean,
Look, Ian, you've got to start doing some more content and making some more stuff. This gold should not be ignored, quite frankly. How dare you, sir? You've got to get back into my life. Seriously.
there's like so many folks, and not just Australia. There's actually a lot of other ones. We have the biggest bank in the world.
Yeah, there was a like the Port Authority. He's like, oh, the government got shut down in Australia for the Port Authority. Yeah, it did. Usually, to be honest with you, usually like smaller government agencies like, environmental protection and, Department of Births, Deaths and Marriage, these smaller departments, usually their security is less than actual corporations because they're less concerned about people doing sort of denial of service tax and things like that. So basically what happened, the Port Authority attack in Australia, it basically they managed to. I mean, it got picked up on very very quickly. They managed to infiltrate through, I can't remember what it was, but sort of just a cyber attack. And they shut it off. They disconnected it from the internet, which is exactly what you do when there's a cyber attack. That's all. Yeah, it's just they found hacking had occurred, pulled it from the internet, purged the system, implemented security protocols, put it back up. Yeah, it's kind of like, okay, yeah, that's an interesting story, and hey, it may have disrupted the Port Authority and therefore shipping for a little bit in Australia. Okay, we're still here. It's not a sign of the end times. It's not. Like, there is an entire industry dedicated to preventing and providing support after these attacks. So I want to talk a bit about your hat. Oh, thank you so much, Pinworm. Pinworm for $5. Thank you, Pinworm. Glad you're feeling better. It wasn't the same without you. It certainly sucked. I'm not gonna lie. It absolutely sucked. But I'm so glad to be back, and I'm so glad that it wasn't. You know what? The thing is, and I'm gonna talk about this for a second, and you can disagree, but I'm gonna talk about this. I had my vaccinations and all of my boosters kind of thing, and it still hit me like a ton of bricks. Seriously, I cannot imagine what kind of state I would be in if I didn't have those things. I could only imagine how bad it would have been. So seriously, listen to your medical professionals. Get your vax, get shots. It helps. It helps so much. And yeah. What's my opinion of your digital ID? Oh, look, dude, like seriously, I think it's fine. I think it's absolutely fine. You've already basically got a digital ID, and that's your on your mobile. For a start, you've got your Medicare number for a start. That's something that IDs you. See, the thing is, here's the thing. It's just, we basically go on driver's licenses at the moment, which just shows you how sort of car orientated Australia is. It's not like they're impossible to forge and stuff. Just like nothing's impossible to forge. So, people already use fake IDs and stuff to get into clubs. I don't really have a problem with it. I think that it's just as secure as your, issuing driver's licenses and normal 18 plus cards kind of thing. It's not any less secure. I think that you already have a number that can kind of track you in your phone. Not your phone number. It's the IMEI, which is the physical address for the phone. Like technically, people could track you through that anyway. Just saying. So yeah, it's a individual number that's associated with the SIM card. So people can track you if they wanted to. So I wouldn't really have a problem with it, to be honest with you. I would expect there to be very high levels of security on it, but I would imagine that's what they would do. I don't think, and see, my wife doesn't drive. as well. So she has to use sort of another proof of ID card, which, you know, people have problems with it. They want a driver's license. It's just a pain in the ass, to be honest with you. So, you know, yeah, just use a good VPN. For what? For what? What use a VPN for what? Oh, hello, Earl. Earl. Say death to Earl, indeed. Hi, Big Bad Mama. So good to see you. I've missed you. I've missed you so much. But yeah, like I'm not sure what you're talking about. So VPNs, virtual private networks, people, yes, kind of. Okay. So here's the thing about VPNs. VPNs are basically just like a proxy, essentially. All you're doing is instead of connecting directly to the server, you're connecting to a server run by a VPN company, and then you're routing through that company, which can be good. Don't get me wrong. If they use tunnels and certain setups for private networks, you can actually get very good connections off of them. What it won't do is prevent you from like being found out if you commit a crime or something using that connection, because the VPN will keep all records of who's using it, and all it will take is sort of, you know, the police asking them for that information for them to probably give it out. Like, it's not going to make you anonymous. If you do want to be anonymous, I would suggest like going through a blind proxy in China or something, right? Something that they can never ever get the records for, because, you know, it's just a blind proxy. Blind proxies don't generally keep records of who connects to them, and it's in China. They just can't access it. I once saw a guy loop a connection through like 3 satellites, like 4 blind proxies, and it was actually pretty impressive how much they would have had to dig to find them out. But, you know, that's another day. Yeah, that would be a crime called destroying evidence. That would be what that is. Yeah.
China's ICBC had a cyber attack as well. We have all these bizarre things going on with deposits not landing in accounts and banks running out of money and not being able to pay.
Yeah, so this is the kind of thing that is actually stupid. Like, you know, that's banks running out of money and not being able to pay. Like, do you have any information on this at all? Like, this is the kind of thing. So what happens? So this is the kind of crap that will start a run on the banks. What's a run on the banks? A run on the banks is basically where one person says, "Hey, the Simpsons did it, right? The banks has no money. The banks have no money. What do you mean? The banks have no money." And then they all run out to withdraw their money, and the bank's like, "Well, we don't have your money here. It's all in these mortgages and their house, and, you know, this kind of stuff." Like, you're basically giving out information trying to cause a run on the banks. This is the kind of crap that's irresponsible. Yeah, oh yeah, it might vary by government, but, you know, yeah. You know, I would imagine that they'll quickly close that loophole for law.
Makes you really wonder what's going to happen there. Of course, you got all these WARs going on that could turn into a world version. You have also supermarkets getting completely ransacked in cities like Chicago and just closing up.
Okay, so this is the thing. Like, he's talking about this stuff. A supermarket being ransacked in Chicago. Is this happening? 3 years ago, there was looting in Chicago. Yeah, I mean, there was one when there's sort of riots breaking out and stuff. You know, it sounds just like crime. like people be criming, so it's the end of the world? I don't know. Apparently it's in Chicago, but this guy doesn't actually provide any information.
Where you have food deserts where you can't even go and get food very easily in some places. Now, you're going to definitely want to get this just in case, folks. Link is in the description. Of course, also gold and silver's link below, appmex.com. Definitely want to get this considering all that's going on with the currency. The prices are actually low right now. Definitely check that out. Also, my website, GR Videos. I got lots of awesome videos over
there. Yeah. So check out his website for more silver prices and things like that, because this guy is essentially like a doomsday prepper, but he's a Christian doomsday prepper, which is weird because I'm not sure what you're prepping for. Like I don't know. Mark Reed reference to Chopper. No, that's spelt differently. His is spelled R-E-A-D. There's more than one Mark Reed in Australia. You know that, don't you? Yeah, the home IP is not the be all and end all. The data you transmit is what? I mean, your global IP is, I don't know what you mean by be all end all, but your global IP address or your public IP address is, if you're doing something that requires data to be transmitted, usually, unless you're just streaming it out, you'll need, like, if you're using like sort of a stream out, then you won't. Yeah, but if you're doing something that requires you to transmit data, usually there's a send and acknowledge. You need to send the acknowledgement kind of thing. So even just connecting with something usually will feed your IP address through, because if you feed through a fake IP address, what will happen is that the request, the REQ, will go to a different address and it won't be able to send the ACK. So yeah. Yeah, so that's how TCP works. If UDP, you might not worry about it. Anyway, that's getting into protocols. So nobody wants to talk about protocols. Nobody.
I just uploaded last night new videos, tons of videos. I think.
Yeah. So this is the kind of crap that he does. It's all scripture stuff. It's all end of the world stuff. It's all strange things are happening, end of time stuff. And of course, he's got an Eclipse one that came out recently. I haven't looked at it. I probably will.
Uploaded 15. I uploaded 15 videos over there last night. I'm doing this every week. I did 20 the week before. So that's like, I don't know, that's like 70.
Yeah, so stop doing 20 videos a week and fact check some of your stuff.
A month I'm uploading over there, folks. And some of them end up in the free section. I think 2 or 3 of them this week ended up in the free section. I think it's 3. Yeah, 3. These 3 are new. Although this one's from 2014.
No, that's not strange at all. So what that's from is because what you'll notice is that's coming from mobile numbers. So essentially it's burner phones, which there's a massive problem with, and that's the problem. The prepaid phones, they need to crack down on those and basically make it so somebody has to give ID to get a prepaid. Absolutely. No, I gotcha. It's just that's the way that's working.
And this one's from 2016. This one's very recent. It's from about a week ago. But in the categories, I have tons of new videos. I put most of them over here. This is an hour and a half podcast right here. We've learned some new stuff about Gilgamesh. Unbelievable stuff, folks. We're doing these
unbelievable stuff, folks. Unbelievable. Yeah, no, it's that when I used to work in IT, that happened all the time. People would get burner phones to do mischief. They would just go into a Coles, get your standard phone, your little plastic Nokia piece of crap. Well, actually, that was quite a good phone, Nokia. Yeah, but anyway, look, they'll just get a prepaid SIM card under just not even give their name and walk out and do all these things.
Deep dives and actually solving things that we couldn't solve back in the old days, folks. We're figuring out things. You're gonna definitely want to check it out. Ancient history, what's going on around us, science, just every topic, even pterodactyls, folks. We're talking about everything over here, folks.
Yeah, that pterodactyl footage, which is obviously photoshopped. Like it's so bad. Like holy crap. Yeah, but here's the thing, Phil. Here's the thing. He's got 150,000 subscribers. He's doing really well. Like this is the kind of stuff that actually does really well. It's baffling to think that there are 150,000 presumably people out there that's willing to listen to this guy's nonsense.
Link is in the description. Go check it out. $4.95 a month. First month is free. Let's get back to the video. So we got lots of stuff to talk about here, folks. We have Jerry Springer. He's now gone. I didn't even know about this. There's so many actors and actresses. You got this guy from Law and Order. He was one of my favorite actors.
Yeah, and again, he's really old. He was really old when he was doing Law and Order. He was really old.
On Law and Order. Richard Belzer. I loved his sarcastic, direct way that he talked, which is pretty much how I talk. Just very sarcastic, very direct. You know, that's kind of attitude he had. Suzanne Summers from Three's Company. It's a great show back in the really old days. Of course, Matthew Perry, which we just talked about in his life. Be interesting to look into some of these guys. Of course, this guy was pretty much a circus side.
So five people, and suddenly it's really weird. It's really weird. I don't know if anyone's had the talk with this guy that people do pass away all the time. I'm really sorry, buddy. I hate to be your parent and sort of say, hey, death is a fact of life. I'm really, really sorry, mate. I really am. You know, I don't know what to tell you. Happens all the time. Oh, hello, Amber. So good to see you. So good to see you. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Yep. Give the like button a bonk. That's always fun. Give the like button a big old bonk.
Joe. I don't know, man. Maybe that's why I didn't hear anything about him. But this guy was kind of like the WWE of talk shows back in the early 2000s. I mean, he had the most ridiculous stuff on his show back in the old days. It's kind of like YouTube in the old days or something. Of course, you have this guy who's in a lot of action movies, Lance Reddick. And there's others as well. There's actually a lot of people. But those are some highlights of some of the people this year that are gone. And there's actually quite a few. There's like about 50.
Well, I don't understand what significance this has. Okay, 50 people. 50 people in Hollywood. I don't. What's that supposed to mean? What like link it in for me? How does this point to anything at all? I don't get it. No friends with me? That's assuming I have friends. Hello, Kynan. Good to see you. Good to see you, buddy.
But those are some of the ones that I thought were important that I thought I remembered. But of course, let's get back into some other stuff. Kat Von D, she recently professed her, of course, faith. I think it was about a month ago. Wasn't it about a month ago that happened where she got baptized, right? And what she was talking about in this interview, which has almost got 1 million views at this point, is basically, well, most people actually had a good response to her. Most people were, supportive, happy for her. But there were a few people putting some pretty bad comments underneath.
Yeah, and when I first heard this, I was like, oh, atheists and non-believers and other faiths shouldn't pick on her for being, converting. It's her choice. She's what was her name? Yvonne D. Yvonne D. I can't remember her name.
Her Instagram post here, folks, and she's talking about how it really, it really did make her feel not good, and it actually really affected her husband. Her husband's sort of on the fence about this whole thing, about believing, and he almost felt like, the way some of these people attacked her in the post was just really a big turnoff. I mean,
yeah, no, I totally agree with you, Phil. I really do. He's really just taking advantage of people, and I mean. The question becomes, and here's the big question: does he know he's doing it? Kat Von D, thank you, Tenebris. Does he know he's doing it, or is he just running a business and he thinks he's helping people? I don't know. It's so hard to tell, but I kind of suspect that he knows that he's I get very suspicious because he's not interested in sort of fact checking anything or checking any of his information. Yeah. So yes, Kat Von D, that's her. So she she kind of has converted, which is fine. She got baptized, which is fine. But I thought it was like people who are disbelievers hassling her. No.
And just saying, oh, you're just a fake, you're a fraud, you're not real, stuff like that. And what do people?
Nothing like Christian love, right? So in actual fact, it wasn't the atheists and the mean Satanists and the horrible people like that attacking her. No, it was other Christians. Of course it was. I don't know why I thought it would be like, it's the other Christians attacking her for being a fake and a fraud and all of these kind of things. It's, yeah. So yeah, there's nothing hates like Christian love. Because she's a tattoo artist and, she looks a certain way, so therefore she must be a horrible person. So yeah, I agree with this guy on this point. I do. You shouldn't hassle people because they have made a decision in their life. That's cool. I think she's wrong, but, I wouldn't go hassling her in comments about it. I don't see the point.
Do that, Well, do they know her heart? Do they know really if it's genuine? I think the fact that she's continuing on and still talking about it and going on and doing huge, interviews and stuff like that about it is proof that it's genuine. If it wasn't genuine, she'd be out, already doing stuff the wrong way or something, right?
Well, here's the thing. This is the thing. Christians can always tell who's genuine and who's not. Like that's the problem. These people always think they can, by someone's behavior, they know who is the Scotsman and who's the no true Scotsman. They always think they know. And from an atheist point of view, if she calls herself a Christian, then she's a Christian. It doesn't matter. If someone says they're an atheist, they don't believe in God, that's fine. They're an atheist. I don't gatekeep who's part of these things and who isn't. Not even atheism. I don't gatekeep that.
But she's out and about making interviews, talking about a change in her life and how important it is to believe in God. All right. Of course, we should be not judging by appearance, but with a correct judgment, not just looking at a person, how they look on the outside. Obviously, she was this tattoo artist, and actually, she just removed a number of tattoos, apparently.
Yeah. Okay. So, fun fact. Yeah. Here we go. Gluten is bad for some people. Yeah. I got tested recently. I thought my mother had celiac disease. It's a particularly bad allergy to gluten. I got tested recently, and I don't have it. So that's one thing down that I'm happy about. So yes, gluten is very bad for some people.
She couldn't actually remove them the way you usually do because of some condition she has, but she had to blacken a lot of them out on the side of her. Things that don't represent her anymore that she had tattooed on her side. Of course,
I don't have any tattoos. I don't want any tattoos. I don't like needles, and I don't like. I've never felt compelled to ink up my skin. I don't have any problem with people that do. I think it's your body. You go ham. I don't really mind. But I don't think that people should be judged by their tattoos. Like if they have something on there that it sort of is just a point in their life, just one data point, if you will, in their life, kind of thing. I think that judging somebody on that's pretty horrible because that's just one point in their life. I get that people, if you're covered in swastikas or something, it can be tattoos. Tattoos? How is that funny? Tattoos. You have a tramp stamp? Damn right. Well done, Robin. Awesome. I'd say tattoos funny.
I would say or classify some of these comments people are making as unwholesome talk. It's really interesting because a lot of people just assume this is like swear words or something. But ironically, that's the irony of our society, don't say swear words, but you can say mean stuff about people as long as you sound nice about it. You know what I mean? As long as you say with nice words, right? I used to call this white collar backbiting or something like it, corporate world or something. Just kind of having like a fake comment, like, oh, you look nice today, but they mean the exact opposite, right? right? They're saying it sarcastically.
Yeah, that's sort of passive aggressiveness, dude. Or yeah, just sarcasm. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not good on sarcasm, so yeah. Maybe it's the lack of a Canadian accent. How dare you? Oh yeah, bud. Get your moose. Get your moose and get out there, bud.
To you, making a jab, well, it sounds like a compliment, but they're actually saying the opposite, right? Of course, it's by grace we are saved, folks.
Yeah, I'm gonna skip past this part where he's talking about grace. Yeah, go on to the Boyzone guy.
Here that I saw on Nick Jones' channel. This is of a famous music artist from about 13 years ago. He had some huge hits. Shane Lynch from Boyzone, an Irish band. He's got some, I think they got some songs with like 80, 100 million views on YouTube. Back in the old days, I mean, now today it doesn't sound like a lot. I mean, well, it is still a lot, but I mean, like you'll get a billion views on some videos these days. But back 13, 14 years ago, YouTube was not as popular as it is today. It didn't have as many people on it. 100 million back then is probably like 500 million today. So it's quite a few views. So he was pretty prominent back then, but he had some really interesting things to say about the music industry, things that we've talked about here on my channel, things that are pretty jaw-dropping. He's just,
yeah. So this guy, he was involved a lot in sort of your woo. He was sort of involved with clairvoyance and Ouija boards, and he claims to have been visited by evil spirits, kind of thing. He's not the most reliable guy that you could ever sort of put your money on. It's not like he's sort of, you know, that bad, but he's come out with some pretty wacky stuff.
saying it straight faced. That's why the interviewer keeps saying, you mean literally? You're not figurative. And like she keeps asking this over and over because it's hard for her to swallow what he's saying just straight faced. Let's play a little bit of this.
Great, Phil.
This small portion of this interview, I promise.
By all means, it's not. But majority of it there is to take you away from Christ. 100% take you away from Christ.
In terms of the lyrics, and is that what you mean? Or do you mean the industry itself, people, the big players in the industry?
Both, lyrically and both big players. Both. I've been in rooms at the top of the top, which albums are prayed over demonically.
Albums are prayed over demonically.
Music is prayed over.
He said demonically, folks. So he's talking about satanic type, of course, things. And she goes on to ask, like I said, he's saying this really straight faced.
Yeah, I know he's saying it straight faced, but that doesn't mean you have to believe somebody. Like, he's basically saying that they have rituals in the high level of music industries. Now, I would like to hear him describe these rituals, like if it's just, you know, oh, they get out these pieces of paper and write down all kinds of runic math. Yeah, they might just be doing accounts, mate. I don't know what to tell you.
Like, he's not like he's serious, obviously. Now let's see what she has to say.
Demonically. That goes out to the world, goes out to the radio stations, goes out to the public. And when you see that stuff and know that stuff, it's frightening.
What do you mean by that, Shane? Prayed over demonically?
So rituals, ceremonies, everything to bring.
So like literally he's saying this straight face, folks. He's saying this.
Yeah, I realize he's saying it straight face doesn't mean you have to believe him. Oh boy.
Directly to her. And obviously this guy's got a huge reputation. I mean, he's got a huge band. They still make money off their music. Obviously he has a vested interest in maintaining that, but he's more interested in just telling the plain truth. Unlike maybe some other music artists who might be concerned this could hurt their sales or could hurt something like that. He's just telling you the truth.
Yeah, I don't like, that's the thing. Hey, how do you know he's telling you the truth? How do you corroborate this in any way? How do you find out? Like, he hasn't even described, like, so the person who's interviewing is trying to get, well, what do you mean by demonically? Are we talking about ritual knives and robes and candles and occult figures on the ground? Like, what are we talking about here?
Some cases, this stuff was happening. Some cases, he goes on to say it wasn't every album. It's not every music album. It's just certain ones. All right, let's play a little bit more.
To give light to the devil, to Satan. It's a satanic music industry. That's majority of what it is.
Notice he still hasn't described what this ritual actually is, any specifics about it whatsoever. It's just, oh, well, it's satanic. What do they do? I'm finding it very hard to believe him because he's so evasive on what they actually, what do you mean by that?
Do you mean figuratively, or do you mean literally you've been in...
Literally. Yeah.
It's like, I still don't, are you serious, bro? Really? You're not talking figuratively here, right?
Yeah, and by him saying literally, he like sort of so a lot of people when they sort of describe this, you know, sort of, oh, you saw a ghost. Do you mean figuratively? No, literally saw it. Like they're using literally, but you know, if he thinks that some kind of thing is a ritual, like, have you ever been in a company and you've done a huddle before, like a stand-up meeting, right? You're doing a huddle. You all stand in a circle, throw ideas out, and you basically brainstorm stuff. It's called a huddle. You know, is that what we're talking about? Yeah, no, maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Maybe someone chose a half-orc fighter, and he's just like, oh, that's Satan. Oh yeah.
And can you share what those albums were? Were they your
No,
albums?
they weren't our albums. No, they were not boys' own albums. So that's what I mean by not every music is that, but it was on the stepping stone to that. So you're going back to 1993s into 2000s, and then if you look at what the music is today, the industry is today, for all your Sam Smiths, to your Dojo Cats, to your Beyonces, to they are so demonic, it's unbelievable.
Right. So he's talking about Beyonce. I mean, like even back in the old days, it'd be Madonna probably. I mean, it's clearly, you can see.
How do you know this? How does he know this? There's no, like, this is the thing. The guy that's just listening to it, the guy who's in the flogging the you know, ration packs, is basically going, no, you can tell he's telling the truth. How can you tell he's telling the truth?
With their concert, it's very, very, very obvious and direct. Okay, and I'm going to show you some examples. He just mentioned Doja Cat, which actually is an interesting example. Doja Cat's a very interesting example because I think it backfired in their case with Doja Cat. It actually backfired. This was one of the first times I've seen it really backfire, where they're putting out something pretty dark. As you can see, you got the eye here, you got this hand coming up, and the next scene, of course, showing essentially like, oh, look who's in control, folks. At this point, obvious, direct symbolism. 2 + 2 = 4 here, folks, not rocket science. But actually what's interesting is if you look at the comment section underneath the video, there's a lot of people.
Yeah, so this is just a music video. It's not symbolic of anything, really. It may be symbolic of sort of control over her from another source, even if it is sort of representative of a devil. So what you've got to understand is that I'm not sure if he's been introduced to semiotics. And semiotics are use of signs and symbols in art and other communication, where you're using certain things and to impress upon people certain emotions or certain concepts. It's heuristics, right? Heuristics are a sort of shortcut you use to connect one idea very fast. So, for instance, a skull and crossbones for pirates, or a skull for danger, or something like that is a heuristic. It's semiotics. It's basically using signs and signals. Now, in the current world, in the current zeitgeist, if you will, if you don't know what a zeitgeist is the spirit of the age, right? So it's basically, a zeitgeist is the sort of group consciousness of the world. So how we think about things. In a lot of these, in the current zeitgeist, in a lot of these sort of subcultures of humanity, the church and religion and sort of God and all of these religious things, they're kind of representative of control and sort of getting people to do what you want and sort of assimilation of submission to these things. And so, as a antithetical idea, the devil and the demons and things can be seen as liberation and freedom and being able to be who you are, and all of these ideas, and the satanic temple sort of extends that in a certain way to sort of more a philosophical bent. But it's just an idea in society. A lot of these people, they just don't even worship God or demons or whatever, or they may be like believe in God, but they're using this as imagery to represent something else. It doesn't have a greater significance than that a lot of the time. And so when we're using sort of, you know, these symbolisms, a lot of it will be up to artistic interpretation. They're not actually saying what you think they're saying. No, don't get me wrong. Some probably are. Some probably are doing it for the shock effect, or, you know, to disrupt the current culture of Christianity and things like that. Sure. Some aren't. And it depends. It's just there's no reason to believe that she's making this statement. There's no reason to believe that.
Saying things that are basically making it backfire completely on them. Thanks, Doja, for reminding me to always pray every night. 117,000 thumbs up. Oh, maybe I should add one. Maybe I can make 118,000 there. There we go. All right. Thanks, Doja, for making me lock all the doors, closet, and everything in my house. You got all these like comments like, oh, this is interesting because
what song is this? Demons. Okay, so she's talking about demons. You know, that might not literally be demons. Yeah, and I mean, I have no doubt that the sort of Christian brigade descended on this video clip and sort of put all these comments in and upvoted them. Yeah.
It looks like maybe some of the comment section changed a little bit. Yeah, dude. Yeah, because it was much more. There was a ton of comments before that were like this. Tons, almost all of them. And that's another thing. Sometimes you'll see where they'll mysteriously, some comments will disappear that were very popular. Now you got these 114.5. You got a 12K here, right here. So that was interesting. And that one's from 2 months ago as well. So there's that one. But there's a number of them about going to church and things like that. I wonder what happened. Is there any more? Okay, here we go. There's actually a lot more than this. They must have got deleted because there was ones with like 100,000 thumbs up on this.
Yeah, I kind of don't believe you. But yeah, that's mostly because Christians have gone and put their stuff on there, which they're entitled to do. It's just, you know, it doesn't have anything of significance. It just means, and I didn't look this up. What is it about? Lyrics meaning? Yeah. Internal struggles that everyone's faces. Yeah, so it's not talking about literal demons. It's just that's the thing. Yeah, okay. So it's just, yeah.
Okay. There were 100,000. There's like 100,000 on ones like that. Apparently, someone didn't like that comment, right? So that's interesting. I hadn't even looked at this in a long time. When did this video come out? 2 months ago. So someone's playing with the comments. Interesting. They don't want you to think certain things, folks. Don't want you to go to church. What? We don't want them to talk about stuff like that. We put this in a religious.
Not one word in your unholy Bible is to you, except God is the only door. God's a door. Okay. I appreciate your candor, Bob Smith. I don't have a Bible. Maybe you can send me one.
No ritual. We want the evil, right? That's what they're saying, you know.
No.
I'm not saying necessarily that's what happened with Doja Cats, but it's interesting because
that's not what you're saying with Doja Cats, but you'll put up all of this stuff and make claims that she's openly saying that she's being controlled by a demon. But that's not what you're saying at the end, very, very fast. Well, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing?
The kind of song, and he mentioned that particular group in his interview. You have also this one. This is a recent one. Megan Thee Stallion the song Cobra, came out 11 days ago. Obviously, and this was actually in Doja Cat's, I think in the beginning it showed eyes like this, if I remember correctly. Of course, here she is literally walking out of a snake in a garden. That looks a little familiar, kind of like Eden or something there. Got some rather curious symbols. I think you've seen that symbol before. Then, of course, we had one.
And this is the one, well, Megan Thee Stallion, you know, sort of, I don't see anything to do with sort of Garden of Eden at all. Apparently the song's about shedding her skin after having several traumatizing experiences. So he doesn't look up like what the artist's actually saying that it means and what they're talking about. He just says, oh, it's all demonic, all you know, satanic, all this stuff. He's an idiot. He's an absolute idiot. He doesn't check. Oh, did you reach a goal? Okay, Bob, mate, stop preaching. You're not here to preach, man. No preaching. No. You can, like, you're very welcome. You can have conversations. You're not going to be preaching to people in my chat. Have conversations. Talk to them. They're people with opinions and they have, you know, views on things. I have views on things. You can talk to these people. They're nice people. Okay, and this is the one that no, I haven't seen. No, Bob's very welcome. Just we're not going to be preaching. We're going to be having conversations, kind of thing. I think I have made a pretty hard rule on that. I've really got to update the chat rules as well. Okay, and this is the one that has me very upset. Well, very upset, a little upset. I mean, it is this guy. He's just, you know, he's horrible. But this is Billie Eilish, and I like Billie Eilish. I think Billie Eilish is an incredible artist. Has a lot of really interesting, very thoughtful things to say. I think that she's a good role model for people. I think no problem at all, Robin. All good, all good. This is Billie Eilish doing a bend back. So what? So what? He's doing a bend back. So what? I don't get it. What? That's a bend back. Are you serious right now? Yeah, okay. So, and this is where I sort of looked up a few things. Like in about 5 minutes, I could find a couple of things. For a start, and I'll grab this one. This is Billie Eilish on the left when she was a kid. Okay, so this is Billie Eilish as a girl. Okay, she actually did like aerial silks, gymnastics, acrobatics, stuff like that. Oh no, that's not human. That's not human. How could a human possibly do that? That's kind of the point, right? And let me share this one of Billie Eilish as a kid as well. Watch this. Right. This is the thing. This is the thing. This is the thing. He, like, you can find this in about 2 seconds. Like, I don't think a human can do this. Gymnasts can do this. Contortionists can do this. Acrobats can do this. Hell, you could probably do this in yoga. Like, seriously, you are an idiot. Like, and the thing is that you're looking at the back of her where you can't see if her knees are bent, and she wears shorts. So, like, it's sort of, oh, I don't think this is human. So now you're calling her inhuman because she's doing something that a lot of people can actually do, just you don't understand how. No, no, they wouldn't. A gymnast wouldn't have. No. Who's muted? The guy? The guy's muted? Okay. It must have been while I was doing some shenanigans. Let me try that again. It's coming out on my side. How's that? Is that it? Is that it? Can you hear him now? 23, 21. 23, 21. 23, 21. Well, thanks you for bearing with me. I will get this sorted out one way or another. I always do. You know me, I always do. I always do. $23, $21. It's probably because I was switching around tabs. I don't think they like it very much. Yeah, the demons obviously silenced him, absolutely. But think about what this means. It means that you're sort of putting out there to 150,000+ followers that this artist, this poor girl is somehow demon possessed. I mean, could you imagine the mail that she receives, and people coming up to her on the street and going, "Oh, you're possessed," just because you can't figure out that gymnasts can do bend backs. It's ugh. My favorite local artist is Tim Minchin. Yes, Tim Minchin. Tim freaking Minchin. Are we getting sound now? Somebody help me. Somebody help me. Are we getting sound? Any sound? Any sound? No worries. Okay. Yep. This has happened before. This has happened before. Yeah. I'll just do my entire monitor. Okay. Clearly, she's a Titanic ninja. Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's a fantastic song. Fantastic.
Even a gymnast, I think, would have a difficult time putting themselves in that position and looking the way it looks.
How about sound now? Sound now? Sound now? Sound back? Did I fix it? Did I do good? Hey, thanks, GG. Cheers, mate. Satanic ninja. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because it doesn't look natural. All right. You could say, let's just, you could just say it's just like her doing that, but I kind of doubt it. I really kind of doubt it. I feel like.
Yeah, but you didn't bother to look up any of her background to see whether she had any gymnastics background, to see whether she had any kind of contortionist background. You didn't know that she used to do gymnastics for most of her life. Like, that's the thing. You didn't care. You're more interested in just denigrating some girl you don't even know. Like, you don't even know this girl, but you didn't bother to find out, did you?
there's more going on there. And a lot of people say that she's obviously something's taken, her over. Probably the way it looks if you watch it. And I'm not going to play it. Like I said, I don't know if there's a copyright or anything. I'm not going to play that one. But at any rate, you get the idea. So there's a lot of stuff like that.
Oh, let's speed this up.
And she was one of the people too that had a song about Lucifer that came out, and they put it at the top of YouTube's trending. Right. And of course, it seems like
He's low. He's low. Okay. See you what. Take care, mate. Looks like, yeah. See, that's what we've discovered on a lot of these creationists. They'll go, oh well, it looks like a thing, therefore it is that thing. Which is a bit of a problem.
it seems like a perfect candidate for this.
Okay, that's a little loud. My volume booster has runneth over. That is a little loud.
Kind of stuff as well. Perfect candidate about in this interview. And this is what he's talking about. He says Beyonce, he said Doja Cat, he said all these type of groups. He didn't mention Billie Eilish or Lil Nas X, but those are pretty obvious ones as well. Their songs were put at #1 on trending, talking about the devil. Not rocket science. 2 + 2 = 4. You know what I mean? It's not rocket science, man. I mean, he goes from literally riding a horse to being in hell with the devil. And I'm not even going to describe it because I'm sure you guys have seen it with Lil Nas X. Singing a really innocent song to that. It kind of reminds me of some of these other famous.
Yeah, and he talked about, just briefly, he talked about Billie Eilish doing a song about Lucifer, and he's actually talking about All Good Girls Go to Hell. That song isn't like, it mentions, it has these sort of lyrics which mention Lucifer and mention devil and mention all this stuff. It's actually not about that. It's about global warming. It's about climate change. Like, if you actually look at the lyrics, it's about climate change. Like, this is the thing. When people write lyrics, they write poetically. Now, Lil Nas X, I have no doubt he's, doing the whole worship Satan thing, but I think he's just doing it for shock value, to be honest with you. He may believe it. I don't know. That's a bit of a different case. I don't really care. But sort of Billie Eilish wrote a song about climate change, and all the Christians went crazy because it had these lyrics in it that sort of say, hey, heaven's out of sight, and when the waters rise, and all of this stuff. Like, it's about climate change. We're using poetic language. It's so bad.
Musicians that were once Disney actors or some actresses that became music, like Miley Cyrus. She's another example of this kind of, where she was looked like an innocent country singer. Next thing you know, her head shaved and she's on a wrecking ball. That was like probably 10 years ago.
Okay, Boomer. Look, yeah, Miley Cyrus went through a thing. Nobody's saying otherwise. Yeah, she kind of was a Disney kid and went through a rebellious phase. I think she's calmed down a bit, at least a bit. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, I just don't understand how a kid that's been raised by Disney, that breaks out and is suddenly so rebellious, is suddenly demonic. Like, everything's demonic to these people. Everything. And it's just, I think somebody said earlier, I can't remember who said it, it must be exhausting living in fear of all this stuff. Don't let it. Oh, yeah. I mean, he was saying Madonna was back in the day. Like, he said that Madonna probably had people praying satanically over her things back in the day. No. What are you talking about?
But I mean, that's like another example. I mean, maybe that's not one of them, but it's just really kind of odd how that stuff is. Right. So, anyway, I think you get kind of the idea. I guess you can pretend like it's all normal. I don't think so. Okay. You can pretend all you like, but, like the old saying, where there's smoke, there's fire. Right. So, at any rate, there's that. But actually, there's a lot more. It's really.
Yeah. So that's one of those sayings that, yeah, it kind of seems, it's just, it's an expression that, like, I get what it's saying, but It's not always the case, is it? Like when you see something like this, it's not always the case that there must be something behind it. It's not always the case. Yeah.
Interesting when you have all these movies come out that start to have some success. We have a certain studio, Angel Studios, that put out a number of things very recent that have had great success in the last couple of years. And then for some strange reason, we have Jay-Z put out a movie called The Book of Clarence to essentially make fun, of course, of the King of Kings, to make fun of him.
Oh, the outrage. Oh, the outrage. And of course, he's the kind of man that would have Sound of Freedom advertised to him, because of course he is, of course he is. That's yeah. Where there's smoke, there's fire, and where there's a music vid, there's demons. Yeah, so I looked this up. This is basically a movie about some person in the wake of Jesus. Like, it's not saying that he's Jesus, but in the wake of Jesus, he starts his own kind of ministry kind of thing. But he's trying to get rich through basically using Jesus Christ as the way to get rich kind of thing. And then raises, sort of realizes how bad it is, like, and sort of, goes through a whole deal. So I don't think they're trying to, but everything is sort of, mocking Jesus with these guys. You can't even talk about Bigfoot Jesus these days without having something, some person jump out of their seat and say, "Hey, you're mocking the King of Kings." Yeah, no, that was just weird. That was weird.
So, and of course, Jay-Z is well known for being directly against, of course, the faith. He literally says it in his songs. He talks about the King of Kings in a song right here, saying he can't save you. Life starts when you leave, of course, the church. This is what he says in his song. Of course, he wears shirts with Crawley on it. And actually, we're getting into great detail about some of what they were talking about in those old days and how they're trying to bring it to pass, and actually fitting all the pieces together over on our website, on my website, GR Videos. Our next podcast, actually the one we just did recently, was covering this as well. Let me see if I can find that real quick. So here's actually a number of in my GR Video series. Let's get on the screen a little bit better. Where I cover some of this stuff. And we're getting really deep diving in and fitting all the.
Gotta shill that website. Gotta shill. You know what? Jay-Z may think that the church is horrible. He may think that life starts when you leave the church. He may not, but this is the weird thing. This guy is sort of an anti-church guy as well, but he's trying to start his own ministry, because this is how you make the bucks. You start your ministry, you make people afraid, you keep telling them that this stuff makes them afraid, and that they're about to end, and all of this stuff is happening, and it's all demonic and satanic. And buy my stuff, because once the end of the world comes, you're going to want my stuff. It's the Alex Jones model. He's just copied it from Alex Jones.
Pieces together on stuff going on, folks, in our culture and why it happens. And also a lot of other stuff, ancient history, Gilgamesh. We're talking about the Vatican, a lot of other stuff as well. We cover a lot of different topics. Andrew, you're going to definitely want to check it out. Link is in the description. I kind of wonder what some of you guys think. Let me know in the comment section below, and thanks for watching.
Yeah, so that's him. That's this horrible guy. And see, here's the problem with what he's doing. Here's the real problem. The real problem is that it's not so much that he's shilling stuff and stuff like that. That's, a lot of people do that. Fine, whatever. It happens. Commercialization of nearly everything in our society. Welcome to late stage capitalism. It's more that he is priming people, like absolutely priming people to hate these artists and these people and things that they see in everyday life for no reason whatsoever, apart from he's making money out of it. He's priming them to go, oh, if I see somebody who looks like this, or has this thing on them, or has this is anti-Christian, or denigrates they're demonic, and that's not cool. Like I said, he's basically said, oh, Billie Eilish is demonic because a human can't do this stuff that humans obviously can. But they're priming people to sort of have this idea that if they see anything that doesn't fit with their conventions, their sort of Christian normative expectations, that it is the devil. And that's a problem, because that's not the case. This kind of stuff gets people in trouble. They start to you've seen the videos of people going, oh, you're a demon to somebody in the street. And it's sort of, where do you think that idea comes from? It comes from people like this. People who just go, well, if you can't understand how they do it, it's demonic. If this random guy from Boyzone, this band, says that they're praying over albums demonically, then that's what they're doing. Oh, he's got a straight face, I believe him. Why? Why? Yeah, I'm doing a review with Ember on in a couple of days for that one, Phantom X. So yeah, I definitely am doing that. But yeah, I just want to sort of point out that the problems with priming people in this way. I mean, it's not like, don't get me wrong, it's not like I have this big thing of, oh, poor celebrity life or anything. I don't think they're that far off. But the problem is that you're sort of you're sort of making an atmosphere where you have hostility against these people for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Like, just no reason whatsoever. And just say they are Satanists. Why do you get to determine which religion is the correct one? As long as they're not breaking the law. Like, if heavy metal bands want to pray satanically over their album to get success, what's so different than praying here's the thing, and here's the thing you got to think about, that Matthew Perry was awesome because he prayed for what he wanted to God and got famous, and it was horrible, apparently. Why should people not pray to something else to get famous, or to get their thing, or to get their records sold, or whatever? What makes you the arbiter of who can be religious and who can't be? It's very, very strange, don't you think? That this religion basically says, well, if anyone prays over something, it's demonic and satanic and whatever, but I'm going to go and pray right now. Who says your God is the good one? And I don't believe in either, so I don't particularly care. And I do like that Jay-Z lyric, your life starts when you end the church. Sure, yeah. You can't have, I find it very difficult to believe that people can be who they really want to be, and find that level of self-actualization while being chained down by church tenant. And it's usually the Christians that sort of, they believe in God, but they don't take the church too seriously, that I do see, becoming really good versions of themselves. Usually the people that are very fundamentalist and, church usually aren't having the best time. So that's just been my experience. That's purely anecdotal, of course. But hey, if Captain Rations gets to be anecdotal, I get to be anecdotal as well. I just see this as there's a lot of things like this, especially in American society, where they prime people to be afraid. And I don't see it ending very well. People are afraid of the liberalism, and they're afraid of, the Chinese, and they're afraid of other. Americans are even afraid of Americans, mostly more than anybody. They're kind of, oh, what if somebody breaks in? What if, and the media is partly responsible for that, of course. because all it shows you is the bad stuff happening. I think that there's less to be afraid of than you probably think. You know, I mean, look at us. We're in Australia with everything that wants to kill us, and we're like, yeah, there's nothing to be afraid of, really. Not really. It's fine. You know, snakes generally, you know, they don't come and bite you unless you miss with them. Oh, Tenebris, yeah, like be afraid of the Jewish people, be afraid of the black people, be afraid of all of this stuff. It's not healthy to do this. So that's why I take exception to these videos, which are like, well, look at this person, they're demonic. Look at this person, they're demonic. It's just ramping that fear up. And I don't see it ending well for anyone concerned. You know, Trump does it all the time. He's the greatest one doing it. He's like, oh, the border, the caravans, the immigrants, we need a wall, fear, fear, fear. And fear is no way to run a society. It's just not. It's not sustainable, because every time that you're trying to run a society through fear, you've got to get a bigger fear. You know, like it won't last forever when you're controlling people. So something bigger and nastier and more horrible has got to come along. And you know, how sustainable is that? And people will act irrationally when they're afraid, unfortunately. But yeah, no, I agree, Wayne. It's a great way to make money out of people, sure. Yeah, absolutely. You're right. But you know, all we can do is point it out and sort of say, hey, there's no reason to be afraid of this stuff. But I know that was a short one, but I decided to do a short stream. This was actually supposed to be from last week, where I didn't know whether I was doing it or not. So what have I coming up? On tomorrow morning Eastern time, or tonight my time, on my games channel, I'm doing a Baldur's Gate playthrough with Justin, who is awesome. And he kind of he kind of is a moderator for Modern Day Debate. I got to know, really cool guy. He does do gaming. So yeah, that's going on. On my Sunday or Saturday night, we have Ember joining me, the lovely Ember, for a review on the Stephen Anderson versus Kent Hovind debacle. I call it Dumb and Dumber, where Stephen Anderson is the dumb. Hovind's definitely dumber. Spoiler alert. But you knew that already. Let's face it. You people knew that already. Yeah, so that's what I've got coming up. So I hope you can join me. It should be a lot of fun. Ember's always amazing. So yeah, come and join me. And I want to also give a big thank you to everybody that sent me well wishes while I had, as we say in Australia, had the Rona. I was feeling really bad and really horrible, and it really was awesome hearing from all of you, and I really appreciate it. It actually lifted my spirits a great deal. So thank you so much. Don't forget, as always, to be kind to yourself, especially if you have the Rona. Definitely if you have, and the Rona is not demonic. Can we stop that as well? It's not demonic. It's not some kind of punishment. It's just a virus. That's all it is. We understand these things. Get your shots. Get your shots. Yeah, but do take care. I hope to see all of you very soon. And yeah, it should be great. Thanks, everyone. It was actually really good. I know I had a bit of a rant, but people doing this kind of stuff give me a bit of a rant. Yeah, no, it wasn't a demon, as it turns out. I prayed and prayed and prayed, and it was actually cold and flu tablets that got me through it. So, you know, absolutely. Take care, everybody.